The film begins with a man named Chris Montano. At that time, he's going to the Mexican Mafia headquarters. As he arrives, he sneaks inside and chaos erupts with fighting and gunshots. In the middle of all this, Montano finds two chefs who are scared out of their act. They beg him not to harm them, saying they're just innocent chefs who got mixed up in the mess. Feeling sorry for them, Montano lets them go and gets back to taking down the bad guys. After dealing with the mafia members, Montano finally meets their leader, Sanchez. Turns out, Montano's wife has been kidnapped by Sanchez's gang. At that time, Sanchez offers to let her go if Montano agrees to work with them for 6 hours. Upon hearing that, Montano didn't want to cooperate with the bad guy Sanchez and even considered stopping him for good. But Sanchez warned Montano that if anything happened to him, Montano's wife would be in big trouble. Reluctantly, Montano agreed to work for Sanchez for 6 hours. There, Sanchez explained that Montano's mission was to defeat 6 of Sanchez's enemies, all within just 6 hours. Sanchez had prepared a car and weapons for Montano and promised to send him the details of where to find these enemies on his phone. If Montano succeeded in this tough task, Sanchez would release his wife. Next, Montano went to check out the car and weapons Sanchez had set up for him. But when he was about to start his mission, he discovered 2 chefs hiding in the car. They didn't want to leave and instead, they begged Montano to take them away from there. They explained that they could help him navigate and take him wherever he needed to go. So, Montano allowed them to join him. As they drove, the chefs shared their story. They were brothers searching for their missing sister. They had been working undercover as chefs in Sanchez's group, hoping to find her. Unfortunately, they hadn't found her at the headquarters. 2 days before all the trouble started, Montano's family life looked perfect. He had a lovely wife and a daughter, and life was good. Montano himself was a retired American Marine captain. That morning, his wife, who he thought was a property businessman, was getting ready to go to the next town for a few days. She made sure to say goodbye to Montano and their daughter before she left. Later that evening, while Montano was making dinner, he got a call from his wife. He excitedly told her that the French ambassador had just offered him a job to train French special forces. His wife asked him to wait until she got back before accepting the job. Suddenly, their evening took a strange turn when 2 FBI agents showed up at their door. Montano invited them in and asked what was going on. The agents told that Montano's wife wasn't really in real estate but was instead involved with a Mexican cartel dealing in drugs and human trafficking. Montano couldn't believe what he was hearing cause after all, they had been married for 18 years. But the FBI agents had proof that made Montano worried. They even showed him evidence that his wife wasn't traveling to the next city as planned, but was actually on her way to Mexico. A few hours after the FBI left, Montano tried to call his wife, but her phone was off. That's when he got a call from someone named Sanchez. Sanchez confirmed what the FBI had said, that Montano's wife was indeed part of a cartel. But turns out, she was part of a rival group to Sanchez's cartel, and now Sanchez was holding her hostage. He told Montano that if he wanted to save her, he needed to come to his base in Mexico the next day. Realizing he had to act fast, Montano planned to head to Sanchez's headquarters the following day, which is where the film originally started. Before leaving, Montano arranged for his daughter to spend the night at his mother's house to keep her safe while he was away. When Montano and his daughter arrived at his mother's house, he explained he'd be away for a few days. He asked his mom to take care of his daughter, but he only told her that he was going to Mexico to pick up his wife. After saying goodbye to his mother and daughter, Montano prepared himself for the challenging journey ahead. The scene shifts to the present, where Montano is about to confront his first target, a drug mafia boss. At that time, he's not alone. He's got 2 chefs with him who have been helping him out. When they get near the boss's house, Montano tells the chefs to stay in the car while he takes care of business inside. As Montano approaches the house, he meets some of the mafia boss's men, and a shootout starts. At that time, Montano manages to take down several of the boss's men. During the chaos, he tells a woman he finds there to leave because he doesn't want to harm her. She quickly leaves the scene. Soon after, Montano continues inside the house, where the shooting happened again. Eventually, he corners the mafia boss. The boss knows Montano was sent by Sanchez, who wants control over this area. The boss tries to bribe Montano with a lot of money to spare his life, but Montano isn't interested in the money. When the boss tries to attack, Montano ends the confrontation by defeating him. Montano then tells the boss's assistant, a woman, that she should leave because his mission was only to deal with her boss. After she leaves, Montano sends a photo of the defeated boss to Sanchez as proof that he has completed his first task. At the same time, Sanchez sends Montano a photo in the location of his next target, who is currently in a restaurant. Shortly after, Montano stepped out, met the chefs, and grabbed a car from one of the target's subordinates. He told the chefs to leave and not follow him, then moved his weapons to the new car and drove off quickly, leaving the chefs behind. About 30 minutes later, Montano arrived at a parking lot on top of a building. He was there to take out his second target using a sniper rifle. But just as he was getting ready, he realized the two chefs had followed him. At first, Montano was annoyed because he preferred to work alone on such dangerous missions. However, the chefs explained that they were searching for their younger sister, whom they believed was kidnapped by one of the mafia bosses Montano was targeting. Despite their story, Montano insisted on keeping them out of danger, emphasizing the goal of his mission. He then proceeded to the top of the building and took aim at his target, who was in a restaurant below. The target, a mafia boss controlling the western region, was just waiting for his meal when Montano took the shot and successfully eliminated him. So, when Montano was almost back to the parking lot, he called Sanchez to say that he had completed the second mission. At that time, Sanchez wanted pictures as proof, but Montano explained that he had to shoot from far away. Luckily, Sanchez believed him. However, Sanchez warned that he would need pictures for the next mission, or he would threaten Montano's wife. As Montano reached the parking lot, a group of people suddenly attacked him, wanting to take him down, and a gunfight started. Fortunately, he managed to defeat them, but he used up all his bullets. Just then, he realized the last person standing was a woman he had let go earlier. Meanwhile, the woman, seeing Montano had no bullets left, walked up to finish him. But right before she could, someone else shot her. It was a chef who had been trying to stick with Montano all along. After this, Montano got a message from Sanchez about his next target, who was now hiding in a villa. Then, Montano decided to bring two chefs along with him. While they were traveling, Sanchez called him to remind him that he only had a few hours left to complete his assignment. Sanchez also threatened to kidnap Montano's daughter. Upset by this, Montano warned Sanchez that if he dared to harm his daughter, Montano would go after him. After the call, he quickly checked on his daughter to ensure she was safe at her grandmother's house. He then told her to stay at a motel with her grandmother for a while to be safer. Soon, Montano and the chefs arrived near the third target's home. They watched the target, who was swimming behind his villa. There, Montano asked the chefs to keep watch while he sneaked into the villa. Once inside, he didn't hesitate to take down the target's guards. In the end, Montano managed to corner his target. While at gunpoint, the target guessed that Sanchez must have sent Montano. The target then got out of the pool and tried to bribe Montano, but was secretly reaching for a gun. But there, Montano acted quickly and eliminated the target first. After that, he took a photo of the third target and sent it to Sanchez, asking for information on the next target. Montano then rejoined the two chefs and headed to the location of the fourth target. Soon, Montano and the chefs arrived at the fourth target's location. There, he asked the chefs to wait in the car and told them to come help if he didn't return within 30 minutes. His fourth target was a mafia boss involved in human trafficking. The scene shifts to Montano dealing with the mafia boss's men. After taking them down, he entered the room, only to be held at gunpoint by the boss's assistant. Just as Montano was ordered to drop his gun, the boss was suddenly shot, and the shooter was Savannah. During the confusion, Montano was shot in the side of the stomach. Savannah, feeling sorry for Montano, quickly took him to her friend's house, who was a veterinarian. On the other side of things, it shows two FBI agents who had previously visited Montano's house. They were found at a motel trying to find Montano's daughter and her grandmother using a government cell phone tracker, and they succeeded. But shockingly, these agents ended up killing Montano's birth mother. It turns out these two agents were corrupt and working with Sanchez, planning to kidnap Montano's daughter. They forcefully put Montano's daughter in the car. During this, she kept saying her father was a Marine and he would definitely come to save her. The scene then moves to Montano, Savannah, and the chef, who have now arrived at the house of Savannah's friend. Here, Savannah quickly reassured her friend because she thought Montano was dangerous. She explained that they were there for help because Montano had been shot in the stomach. Shortly after, Montano was treated and the bullet was removed from his body. Then, as Savannah's friend was about to pour a drink, the two chefs were shocked to see the necklace she was wearing. Soon after, the two chefs asked where she got the necklace. Savannah's friend replied that she received it from her mother when she was 10 years old. Hearing this, the two chefs started crying because it turned out Savannah's friend was their younger sibling who had disappeared at the age of 10. 30 minutes later, Montano was seen getting ready to finish his mission. In that moment, the two chefs wanted to help him, but Montano said no. He explained that since their main goal was to find their younger sister, and now that they had found him, there was no need for them to stay. However, the chefs still insisted on helping Montano to show their gratitude. On their way, Sanchez sent information about the 5th and 6th targets. It turned out that both targets were in the same place, allowing Montano to tackle both at once. The scene shifts to a car junkyard, where an old man, a mafia boss who sells women, is spotted. This old man is Montano's 5th target, and he's waiting for a buyer. Soon, the buyer arrives, and it turns out to be Montano's wife, Sarah. This reveals that all along, Sarah wasn't kidnapped by Sanchez's group. Instead, Sanchez was just deceiving Montano. Sarah, known to Montano as his wife, steps up and buys the women from the old man. It turns out that Sarah is also Montano's 6th target, but Montano doesn't know it because the mafia uses a different name for her. Meanwhile, Montano and the two chefs arrive at a cemetery. There, he points out that the target is near a pile of car wrecks behind a grave, so they need to be ready. At the same time, Montano receives a call from the corrupt FBI agents. They tell him to hurry up and complete Sanchez's task. They also mention that they've just kidnapped his daughter. Furious, Montano vows that if anything happens to his daughter, he will take down the FBI agents ruthlessly. The scene goes back to Sarah and the old man. Sarah has just transferred money to the old man to buy the women. Suddenly, Montano arrives and starts shooting, taking down everyone there. He even fires at Sarah, not realizing who she is. At one point, Montano and Sarah end up pointing their guns at each other, both shocked. At that time, Montano had no idea that Sarah was involved with the cartel. Likewise, Sarah never expected Montano to find this place. Soon after, the old man tries to sneak up and take out Montano, but Sarah quickly deals with him. She then explains everything to Montano. Sarah reveals that her real father was the leader of a major Mexican cartel who passed away 10 years ago. Turns out, Sarah was forced by two FBI agents to act as an informant to prevent anyone from taking her father's place. However, these FBI agents were secretly working with Sanchez, who was the one really after the power. Sarah really wanted to stop working as an informant, but the FBI threatened Montano and their daughter's safety, leaving her no choice. The targets Montano was after were all potential leaders to take over her father's cartel role, including Sarah. Montano then told Sarah that their daughter was now held hostage by both the FBI and Sanchez. The only way to save their daughter was for Montano to eliminate Sarah. Hearing this, Sarah asked Montano to just go ahead and do it. After a lot of thought, Montano sadly did what he had to do. Montano then took a photo of Sarah and the old man to send to Sanchez, since they were his targets. After that, Montano told the two chefs that his work was done and they should leave. The chefs said goodbye, thanking Montano, and he thanked them back. The scene shifts to where Sanchez and the FBI are waiting for Montano. When Montano arrives, he demands they release his daughter. As they let her go, the FBI remarked how tough the day must have been for Montano, having lost both his wife and mother in just one day. Montano was really shocked by the comment from the FBI. Suddenly, one of Sanchez's guys paralyzed him. It seemed they planned to kill Montano because they knew he would be a threat if left alive. Just as Sanchez was about to shoot Montano, a gunfight erupted and Sarah, who had faked her death earlier, was shooting. Later, Montano was cornered by Sanchez again, but luckily, a chef who had been following Montano shot Sanchez. Sanchez managed to escape in a helicopter. Meanwhile, Sarah was fighting a female FBI agent and managed to take her down along with some of Sanchez's remaining crew. Montano was trying to calm his daughter when suddenly, he was shot by a corrupt FBI agent and a fight broke out. When it seemed like Montano was in trouble, Sarah came to help but ran out of bullets. As the FBI aimed at Sarah, Montano took his chance and shot the agent. In the end, Montano and his family survived this ordeal. 3 months later, during a lion dance at Chinese New Year, we see Sanchez, who is still alive and driving. As he passed through the lion dance event, suddenly Montano and Sarah shot him. The incident went unnoticed because the two chefs used the lion dance as a cover. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is always check twice before pretending to be dead, because you never know when you'll need to jump back into action.